Hello, everybody. Welcome to our press conference today. One thing, if you could please silence your phones for the press conference, that would be helpful. My name is Tom Whitestone. I'm the Associate Athletic Director for Media Relations here with the Charlotte 49ers. And on behalf of the university and the 49ers Athletic Department, I'd like to welcome you today for today's important announcement. Today we will be hearing from both Chancellor Dubois and our new athletics director. After their comments, we will have question and answers with our members of the media that are here today. So without any further ado, let me introduce the Chancellor of UNC Charlotte, Dr. Philip Dubois.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here to meet the 7th Athletics Director of UNC Charlotte, Mike Hill. I'm going to have just a few remarks, as Tom said, and then we'll have questions and answers after you hear from Mike. Before we do that, let me acknowledge the presence of Judy Rose and Ken. We will have several I'll try to not be emotional tonight or today, but we're going to have several opportunities over the next few months to acknowledge Judy's outstanding tenure at UNC Charlotte and to thank her for her 43 years of service. But I don't want this opportunity to go by without us saying, great job. Thank you. And Ken, I know what goes on in my house with a spouse of a university employee, and it's been 24/7 for you for a long time. You've earned your retirement. With the arrival of Mike Hill on March 15th, Judy will begin her service as Special Assistant to the Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics. This will allow her to continue her work on important NCAA committees, including the NCAA Council and related activities. But more importantly, she's going to be able to use her vast network of contacts in the Charlotte region to introduce Mike to leading donors, friends of the university, and our corporate partners. So she will retire as scheduled on June 30th, but we're going to keep her plenty busy until then. I want to thank our search consultant, Jean DiFilippo of Turnkey, for assembling a great candidate pool and for helping us to move very quickly. That process was also facilitated by my Chief of Staff, Kim Bradley, and our Office Assistant, Anna Clark, who together superbly managed a very quick process with a lot of complicated logistical arrangements for all of those we interview. And we want to acknowledge the willingness of the search committee, the members of the cabinet, large number of athletic department employees, including staff, head coaches, people like alumni, donors, student athletes. They were all involved in the search in one way or another. And they all made their schedules work for last Monday and Tuesday of last week. And all totaled, about 45 people had a chance to meet our two finalists. From the first meeting of the search committee with Jean DiFilippo and the announcement of Mike's appointment required only 21 days. In that regard, I want to acknowledge and thank our general counsel, Jesh Humphrey, who worked with us on the contract terms, and our Associate Vice Chancellor for Human Resources, Gary Stinnett, who helped process all of the required paperwork that's involved with the recruitment and appointment of a senior university officer and the completion of the necessary background checks. Jean DiFilippo assembled a large number of names of potential athletic directors for us, but we asked him to give us his top 10, and he gave us his top 13. And we narrowed that list to 9 semifinalists. That list was diverse, including 2 women and 2 African Americans. A subcommittee of the entire search committee interviewed those 9 candidates at a secret off-campus location called the Sheridan here in Charlotte on February 19th, 20, and 21, and then selected 2 finalists to interview on campus. My wife, Lisa, who could not be here today, prepared 2 outstanding dinners on the evenings preceding the formal interviews to allow us to have private time to meet the candidates, including Mike and his fiancée, Jessica James. Lucky for me, Lisa waived the family rule on meatless Mondays, and I enjoyed filet mignon 2 nights in a row. And if you need to know, each of the finalists was served exactly the same meal so that there was a completely level playing field. Now, I should tell you that not all with this search went perfectly, particularly at the end. Our second finalist completed his interview on Tuesday afternoon, and we asked for all of the folks who had met the candidates to submit their evaluations to me by 6 p.m. Tuesday. By Tuesday at 7 p.m., I had made up my mind. I knew what the decision would be. So I texted Mike to ask whether we could talk that evening. And I said something like, "You're going to like this conversation." I did not hear back. And about 9:30 p.m., I texted him again. And I'm basically a two-text person. And I asked if he had my message, could we talk, because I was going to bed at 10. I did not hear back. I had a sleepless night worrying about this search. So I got up early at 5:30 and checked my phone. And sure enough, there was a message from Mike. He explained that he too had gone early to bed. And he was up early. And he had not checked his messages, but now he was awake. And could I give him an hour before calling? So at 6:30 a.m., I called, and a voice considerably deeper than Mike's answered the phone. Well, it wasn't Mike, after all. I had the wrong number. I quickly checked what number I had called, and it was the number I had entered into my phone contacts. But the number in my phone contacts were not the phone number on Mike's resume. So the end result of this was that I had not texted Mike Hill on Tuesday night, or Wednesday morning for that matter, and a reflexive action I can only describe as weird, I called Mike right away using the number on his resume. And it was about 6:45 in the morning. And he answered. And he was up, ready to talk. But this is the first he had heard from me. And when I asked him if he wanted to come to Charlotte, there was no hesitation. He said yes. So like a guy whose marriage proposal was accepted, I gave myself a hearty high five, and the rest is history. Now, I know you know his credentials, the ones that are found on that resume with the phone number, so I won't spend any time on that today, but I can tell you what impressed me about him, and our search committee felt the same way. He clearly wants to be at UNC Charlotte. After 25 years at the University of Florida, and with no reason to leave that fine institution, he said it was simply time for him to take the next step in his career at an institution in a city and in a state that he loves. Yes, he's a Carolina graduate, but we got over that quickly. Wait for it, wait for it. Secondly, he knows what success looks like. One of the attractions for me to look at candidates who had served in Power 5 conferences was that he or she would understand the many pieces that must be in place for a successful athletic program. But Mike was not just coming from any Power 5 school. He was coming from the University of Florida that had assembled a nationally ranked athletic program across 21 sports. Third, he has high expectations for excellence, built both in terms of competitive excellence, but also academic achievement and preparing students for life beyond the university. Fourth, he shares our institutional value set. We want to win on the field. We want to win on the court and on the track. But we want to win with integrity, full compliance, and authentic commitments to gender equity, diversity, and inclusion. Finally, he is smart enough to laugh at my jokes. So without further delay, let me introduce our new athletic director, Mike Hill.
Good afternoon, Niner Nation. Are we ready to go? Chancellor Dubois, I can't tell you how honored I am to have this opportunity. Thank you to you and to Lisa. Incredible meal. You're a really good griller, and I'm very, very particular about grilling, so well done. Next time, though, I can say this with confidence that if you're unhappy about something and you try to reach me by phone, I can just pretend like I never got the call. I also want to thank Joe Price, the chair of the Board of Trustees, for your support as well in naming the athletics director here at Charlotte. The search committee and Gene DiFilippo did an incredible job. I can tell you that it was the most grueling experience I've ever gone through. And I've run 3 marathons, okay? I ran the Boston Marathon. This was unbelievable, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. nonstop. And so I feel like maybe perhaps I'm qualified to be chancellor now instead of athletics director. So I appreciate the opportunity to meet 45 people. Judy and your team, what an incredible job you've done here. Just to reiterate what the chancellor said earlier, just what an honor to follow in your footsteps. And I look forward to leaning on you for guidance and advice and to take advantage of an incredible foundation that you and your team have built. So thank you, Judy. So this is going to be like the Oscars for just a moment. Okay, so bear with me and don't start playing music to hook me off stage. There are a few people I want to recognize. First, my fiance, Jess. Jess is, we're actually getting married here in April, so we're trying to cram as many life experiences as possible into the next 30 days if we could. Looking for a home, all of that. So, but Jess is wonderful, and I'm love to have her by my side, and we're really excited. She has tremendous friends in Charlotte as well, so this is a great opportunity for her. My son Luke couldn't be here today. He's in school right now in Gainesville at the Cambridge program at Gainesville High School. He is really, really pumped about this as well. He'll be a fixture up here. You'll see him a lot. He loves sports. He may know more about them than I do, actually. And he's already stealing all my Florida Gator gear. It's like, the body's not even cold. Dad, can I have your sweatsuit? Can I have your hat? Am I going to get some Charlotte gear? He, I think, followed all of the social media accounts for the 49ers before I did. Before I even got the job. So love you, buddy. Wish you were here, but excited to get you up here soon. Also want to acknowledge Luke's mom, Carla, who does a great job as well with Luke and raising such a fine son. My mom, who is watching online, I think, if she could figure it out, with my brother and my sister-in-law up in Ohio, Doris Hill, big fan of mine, and love you, Mom. Wish you were here. And my dad and stepmom, Bob and Jane Hill, are here as well. They just actually moved back from West Virginia to just outside of Clemson in Westminster. So this is a treat to be able to have them here as well with us today. My brother and sister, so Jay and Carrie up in Ohio, and also Betsy and Donnie, who are in Marietta, Georgia. And I have some other family here who I'm going to be crashing their house for a while. So Beth Cameron and my cousin, and also Lee and Keith Wall are here. And we're going to be holed up at their place for a while, and looking forward to that. And then lastly, just family and friends who are such an important part of our lives and who supported us at the University of Florida and now are excited for us and this opportunity to come here to Charlotte. It's a real pleasure. Also would be remiss without acknowledging my aunt and uncle, Barbara and David, who could not be here today. So professionally, I have numerous people I want to recognize as well, starting with Jeremy Foley. Jeremy is the former athletics director at the University of Florida, and I worked side by side with Jeremy for the better part of over 2 decades. Mentor, friend, unbelievable leader. I've learned so much from him. Jeremy, thank you for all you've done for me. And I remember one time after I ran my first marathon, Jeremy had run several himself, and so I was really proud of myself. I'd run a marathon. And so we were having dinner one night, and I said, hey, I feel like I'm prepared now to be an AD because I've run a marathon. And he said, you better run another one. So I think he was right about that. But he's been a tremendous supporter of mine over the years, and I'm so grateful and honored to have had the chance to work with and learn from you. Scott Strickland, tremendous athletics director at Florida right now, who's a friend and someone who I've learned so much from in a short amount of time, just about a year and a half. We've been through a lot together just in the last 18 months with coaching searches and hurricaned out football games and all sorts of excitement in Gainesville. It's never dull. But Scott, thank you for your support of me as well in my career and my aspirations. And to my Gator family, and you know who you are. I'll get in trouble if I start naming too many names. I don't want to leave anybody out, but thank you for your support as well, and we're going to miss you dearly. John Mcbride. John is a guy who hired me at the University of Florida back in 1993, took a chance on a 24-year-old kid and who was at Ball State at the time. And John, gave me the chance, got me a break into, one of the best athletics programs in the country. So I'm grateful to John for that. John went on to be the athletics director at Nebraska Kearney and did a phenomenal job there, and learned so much from John. Don Purvis, athletics director at Ball State. Don also gave me a great opportunity to work for him in Muncie, and he's just a class act. He's retired now in Florida. Thank the world of Don. two really special people in my life. I'm so excited that they're here today. Richard and Gail Giannini. Richard's a former athletics director at Southern Miss and Louisiana Monroe, had been with the Gators for many years as well. Richard gave me a chance when I was actually a student at the University of North Carolina to work at Raycom Sports. And that led to my first full-time job. He hired me right out of college, and I'm forever grateful for that opportunity, Richard and Gail. Thank you so much. Keith Tribble also was instrumental in my life, in my career early on at the bowl game, the Blockbuster Bowl, my first job out of college. And Keith is a dear friend, and I appreciate him. All of those who helped me in my pursuit of this opportunity, and you know who you are. There were so many people who were trying to get behind me to push for this opportunity. I'm grateful. So, okay, the music didn't play, so I'm still here. I'm thankful for that. So this is personal for me. The reason that this job got my attention was because this is home in so many ways. So I'm the son of educators. My mother's a retired school teacher. My father, stepmother are both retired chairs of English departments. I grew up in a college town in Clemson where there wasn't a whole lot else to do except go to Clemson Tiger events. And it was awesome. Yeah, I went to everything. We went to football, basketball, swimming, soccer, tennis, wrestling, you name it, and we went. And it was a phenomenal childhood. But we also had a lot of family here in Charlotte, and we would come to visit Charlotte frequently. We would come up to see aunts and uncles. My grandparents lived here. Both my father and my mother had grown up in Charlotte as well. I remember vividly, it's not a great memory, sorry to bring this up, but it's the truth, sitting on Commonwealth Avenue in the living room of my grandparents' home in 1977 and watching Marquette rob Charlotte of an appearance in the national championship and just having my heart broken. I mean, I do think there was a foul at the end too, but anyway, there's no replay at that time. My grandparents used to take me fishing on Lake Wylie. I lived here, and actually in '89, I referenced Richard hired me as an intern at Raycom Sports, and so I lived here for the whole summer with my aunt and uncle, Barbara and David Berryhill, and would spend the weekends up on Lake Norman, learned how to ski very poorly, but learned how to ski on Lake Norman. Went to the first ever Charlotte Hornets game as a college student, drove down through Charlotte on my way home, and we stopped to see the Hornets play. I think it was about a 40-point loss, but it was pretty special to see that and be a part of that. So I got my degree from the University of North Carolina, and that's really where I got my start in athletics. And I worked there as a student for 3 years. They had to kick me out every night of the Smith Center, 30 hours a week, just because I loved it so much. And really, that's where I was bitten by the bug. So I took that experience and really tried to grow from that and find a way into college athletics as a career, and the rest is history. In terms of this being personal for me, there's some other interesting facts I'll share with you. First of all, I'm a huge Panthers fan. I grew up a Falcons fan, but when the Panthers were born, I adopted the Panthers. So I really want to meet Luke Kuechly. I'm excited about that. If anybody can arrange that for me, that would be great. I own a home in Blowing Rock. I love the mountains, and so frequently travel, obviously, from Gainesville to Charlotte and then drive on up to Blowing Rock to the mountains. So excited to be closer to home there as well. The best live band ever to exist, the Avett Brothers from Concord, just up the road here. My favorite band. I've only seen them 16 times. So excited. Seth Avett is a grad or an alum, I believe, of UNC Charlotte. So North Carolina, bottom line, is where my home is. Okay. So that's the personal piece of this, that's why I was intrigued out of the gate. But professionally, what an incredible opportunity. And again, thanks to Judy and her team for constructing a program that had the attention of so many great athletic directors candidates. Somebody told me once when I first got involved, they said, wow, that's a great first AD's job. And I said, no, it's not a great first AD's job. That might be factually correct for me, but it's just a great AD's job, period. The opportunities here to come and to lead a program that really is on the precipice, in my opinion, of greatness is something that I couldn't resist. There are tremendous people here. They're excellent student athletes. I had a chance on my interview to meet with Martha Thomas, this all-time leading scorer in soccer, who's a big-time person. Meredith Harris also from softball. Haley Pace, home run leader in softball here. Juwan Foggy and the football team is just a tremendous young man. Gorgeous campus. I mean, I told donors at the University of Florida at my last basketball game last weekend, I said, if you're in Charlotte, please call me. I want you to see our campus. You will not believe it. It's an SEC, ACC campus. The brick, the green space is absolutely gorgeous. The athletic facilities are top-notch. And again, that doesn't happen by accident, right? It is like that's a huge investment in raising money to build these facilities and have the space to do that. So the campus and the university clearly committed to excellence in athletics. I'm a big basketball guy. I love basketball. It's my passion. And this place has a huge history of success in basketball, 11 NCAA tournament appearances, the Final Four berth that I mentioned earlier. So basketball matters to me. I'm not going to go to a place that isn't interested in having a good basketball program, bottom line. So that was exciting for me. And we launched football here. And it's still just a baby, 5 years old. And excited, though, to have the football program in place. What a great stadium. And excited for Coach Lambert here this fall to get going with football. 30,000 students at this place. 30,000 students. That's incredible. That's bigger than a lot of other schools in the two leagues I referenced earlier. The light rail, when I was here for my interview, that was the ribbon cutting day for the light rail from uptown to campus. I mean, that's significant. That's visionary. The city of Charlotte is an awesome sports city and unbelievable resources. So that's another quality, in my opinion, that makes this such a great job. We have the ability to partner with so many people in this community in this great sports city. It's also a talent-rich part of this country. I know the Gators came up here all the time to recruit players. All right, we're going to find a way to try to put a fence up and keep some of those players right here. It's just, this is a perfect fit for me, professionally and personally. And, Billy Donovan once told me, he said, don't mess with happy. And so I didn't for 25 years. But this is the opportunity for me. I wouldn't have left Florida for just anything. It had to be the perfect fit. So now let's get to work. The outpouring of support has been phenomenal, overwhelming. I described it to Jess as a little bit like surviving your own funeral. It's been amazing, all the outpouring of comments and kindness, and everyone is just so supportive and excited to have us here, and that's tangible. And so we want to take that energy and catapult this program to new heights. It's already done some really special things, but we're gonna get after it. And I know we have some passionate fans, and I want to speak to our fans for a second. We need to unite behind this program, all in this thing together, okay? I know that we had, when football started, you had the Charlotte Football Initiative. You had a feasibility study group that finally decided to have football. There was passion behind that. Okay, we need that passion on football Saturdays. We need to fill Halton Arena. Dale Halton deserves that. We need to give you a program that makes you want to come to the arena. But it all starts in the mirror, okay? One AD can't just sprinkle magic pixie dust and fix this. Everybody who's a fan, a supporter of this program, look in the mirror and say, what can I do to support this place? Join the 49er Club. If it's $49 or $490,000 or $4.9 million, we like that too. Whatever the number is, be a part of this program. Put your support, okay, where your mouth is, because this place needs you. We're going to engage students. We're going to engage young alumni. We're going to be very, very aggressive in those areas because it's a crucial piece of our strategy to advance this program moving forward. We're going to care about all sports here, all sports, not just one or two. We care about a total overall athletic program, and we're going to be invested in all of them. We're not in this to be ordinary. We're in it to be extraordinary. I'm not about just being okay. This place here, this place is an absolute gold mine. I've talked to numerous colleagues across the country about this opportunity, and to a person they say, that place is incredible. You're going to a job that you can do so much with and really enjoy doing it while you're there. 49ers mine for gold, right? And so my mantra for the next several months is going to be that gold is the standard. Okay, so gold, there may be a hashtag in there, gold standard, but that's what we're going to do around here. We're going to do things in a top-notch fashion. I've already been really, really impressed by the staff here and how they've taken care of us in this whole process. And we're going to continue to take advantage of the resources that we have to make sure that this place gets the program to where it wants to be and has the program that it deserves. So, in short, I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to lead this fine program. I'm so excited to get started. It's an honor and a privilege, and go Niners. Thank you. Ready for questions, I guess. Tom, you going to moderate?
That's correct. At this time, we'll take questions from our media members here in attendance. Hold on and wait for a microphone to come to you from either Michael or Brent in the back. We do have the viewers at charlotte49ers.tv watching and those listening on 7:30 the game, so we want to make sure that they hear the questions as well as the answers. And then if you could also state your name and affiliation, that would be helpful as well. So we'll go to questions now.
Eric Spanberg with the Charlotte Business Journal. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Eric.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the plans are for men's basketball and the head coaching situation, which seems to be one of your first priorities?
Sure. So I anticipate that might be the first question of the day. I haven't started this job yet. I officially start March 15th. But I felt it was really important for me to get in here before the press conference today and have a chance to sit down with our basketball staff. And so I did so yesterday. I spent time with Coach Fancher and his staff to let them know that we are going to conduct a national search to hire a new basketball coach. I also spent time on the phone with each of our players and with and some of their parents as well, and the commitments to ensure that they understood that we're going to be committed to hiring the very best basketball coach that we can. And so that is our plan. I will say this, Houston Fancher is a class act. The guy is all about the right things. And I didn't enjoy that conversation at all. I'm sure he didn't either, but to start off your week, that's the first thing you have to do, was extra tough just because of the kind of person he is, the quality of man that he is. But he will land on his feet. He's too good. And the staff, the same way. They were tremendous in handling it. And I thought that the players handled it very well in addition to that. I spoke to each one of them last night and a few this morning and thought that they were very positive and upbeat and excited about the future.
Hi, Mike. David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. You've talked a little bit about your 100-day plan. To start off, could you maybe go over some of the highlights of that?
Sure. So the priority right now is this basketball search. Under normal circumstances, number one thing would be a listening tour. And not that we're not going to be listening, but right now we have to dive in and get this done. There'll be a lot of competition for head coaches, and this is a great job. I've had numerous people contact me already who are either representing coaches or are friends of mine in the business who have been contacted knowing of my relationships with them to get involved in this job. So that's going to be a huge priority, certainly for the first part of those 100 days. Another big piece of that, of course, is to sit down with the chancellor. And although we've had many conversations just to make sure we're sharing the same vision and that this athletics program, which exists to serve the institution, is doing what you want it to do. So we'll have a meeting the first day that I arrive to discuss that. Again, the listening tour is part of that as well, and it's not just shaking hands. It's actually like paying attention to the constituents and understanding what the issues are, what people feel about this place, how we can get better as a program and as an institution. Clearly, I've got to learn more about the budget and see where we are financially, because resource generation will be a big piece of this as well, and that's something that I do have some experience in. So there's a long list of probably 25 things that I presented to the chancellor, but those are some of the highlights. I know there are more than two questions. There have to be.
Matt Harris, WSOC Channel 9, the ABC affiliate in town. What conversation have you had with Coach Lambert? I know there was a lot of frustration following the football season last year. I know you've remarked it's still in its infancy, but what can you talk to fans about in terms of the expectations for the football program moving forward? Sure. So a couple of things I would say there. Number one, we're all fans. Even sports writers, even news reporters. That's how you got into it. You love sports. You're a fan of a team, right? And so we're all fans. We can relate and understand when our team doesn't perform. Like, I'm a big Atlanta Braves fan, and I'm pretty miserable right now, okay? But we'll get it fixed. And so if you want fans to care, and the fact that there are so many who do and are expressing that, I said this, to a few people during my interview, the opposite of love is not hate. It's apathy in this business. So we don't have apathy, in my opinion. I think we have people who care about it and want us to succeed. Now, one win, Coach Lambert will tell you, one win that doesn't make him happy either. No one's more invested in the program than the football coaches and the student athletes. And take how you feel as a fan and multiply it times 100,000, and that is how our players and our coaches feel. So they put an enormous amount of pressure on themselves to succeed. This is what they want to do. This is their passion. So, I'm looking forward to seeing the progress here this fall, to see what happens. And I know Coach Lambert's very excited about the team coming forward. But again, Florida, we've been playing football for 112 years. We've been playing football for 5 years here at UNC Charlotte. There's a big difference. And so I think that we do have to have some perspective, but at the same time understand we're in a competitive business, and the goal is obviously to succeed. And
and win ball games and do it the right way.
Any additional questions?
Mike, you mentioned several times the facilities. I'm just curious. I mean, I know you probably haven't seen everything in depth, but in general, are there priorities in terms of training facilities or renovations or just anything that you've seen at Florida that you think is needed here and is doable here?
Yeah, so I've had a chance to tour some of the facilities. I don't have a complete assessment of those yet, and so I would really not want to articulate right now what those priorities would be until I can get in there and talk to people and see. I do know there's some areas that maybe we want to work on for a few of our teams that I'm already aware of, but I wouldn't want to prioritize anything at this time.
Sure, go ahead. Real quickly, because of our commitment to Title IX, we're going to be doing some renovations to the swimming pool in the Belk Gym, so we can start that in a timely fashion. The next sport after that, we believe, will be sand volleyball. There'll be a modest facility for that needs to be constructed. And after that, we'll have to look at where we stand with gender equity and what the facilities implications of that might be. Looking into Judy's head, I know she has a long list of things she would love to build, including indoor practice facilities. And of course, we've got the batting facilities for the two, baseball and softball. So plenty to still do here. The school colors are white, green, and construction orange. So.
Do we have any other questions from our meeting members? Any in the back? Seeing none, I think that we are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out today.